Okay, we are live. Little technical glitch there. Thanks for joining us today. We are talking about what I think is one of the biggest mistakes we see buyers and even sellers make in the home buying, home selling process. In the agent or the lender that they choose to work with. So we really want to dig into what to watch out for, what to look for. Things have really changed over the last specifically year to 2 years here. So there's some kind of new things that are have presented themselves in the home buying, home selling process that we want to cover. So hopefully today we'll dig into things that you can avoid in the way of issues, and then specifically what to look for. In my opinion, the last item that I have here, the resident leader, I think encapsulates a lot of what you would be looking for. So I'm super excited to share our focus here at MHC Realty in regards to our certified agents and how we can help you in your home buying process. And we're going to talk all about this with Chase Hodgson, who is with Summit Funding, who I seem to have a knack for clicking on the next screen while he's getting prepared. How about that? How you doing, Chase?
That's right. I'm good, man. How are you?
That is not intentional. I apologize.
It's good.
Anyway, yeah. So this one I think will be interesting because I think, and I hate to be a little hyperbolic, but I really think if you miss the mark on your agent or your lender, it could just create a potentially miserable experience. So my hope is, as we're talking today, folks can avoid a problem or two. Then it'll save them either a lot of time, headache, or money.
Yeah.
We've all seen it, right?
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. I think yeah. E-
Stories abound.
there are a lot, and I think just understanding and having a good relationship with the people that you work for and know that they're working for you is probably the most important thing that you can do when buying real estate. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
first.
Yeah, agreed. Well, let me do just a couple of quick housekeeping items here. For those of you that I haven't met, my name is Jerod Lee. I'm the associate broker and team lead here at My Home Connection, also known as MHC Realty. Our sponsor for today is the perfect home buying process. We've spent now over 2 decades developing the home buying process to make it more efficient, more affordable, more pleasant, more streamlined, and we just tried to bring together a myriad of tools to share with you, secrets of the industry, reports, podcast series to help answer a lot or majority of your questions, and then we've kind of now recently bundled it with a up to $500 for your appraisal and up to $500 on your home inspection to just kind of bring down those costs even further and reassure or provide more assurance in your home buying process. So with that, we'll kind of get into the topic here. I guess I wanted to go with the kind of things to avoid first, because I think some are obvious and some are not so obvious. So if you can
Hmm.
just kind of have that in the front of your mind, like, oh, that's a bad idea, because these are the things that you can just easily fall into without even realizing it. And now in today's age, you could be in a contract with an agent that you're like, oh man, now what?
Hmm.
So let me pop up this slide here. Um, I guess the one that I just referenced, I want to go to first, and that is this post NAR settlement issue that we have, where we as agents have to have a buyer's representation agreement before we even show you a home, right? That's now new to 2026. We used to be able to meet up with clients, prospective clients, talk with them, get to know them, make sure that there's a good fit and a good match, and then go see a property and maybe even do that kind of at the property or during the property, what have you. But now we have to have that agreement in writing before we can open the doors by law. So
Yeah.
that's just changed the dynamic a lot. Are you seeing a lot of kerfuffle kind of in your lending space about that?
Yeah, it's I have a lot of conversations with agents, right? And that's a thing they're still trying to figure out how to mitigate that a little bit, right? Because you're so used to a certain process, and um, people don't understand that change, right? Like, and so education is a big part right now of, I think, what how agents need to approach their business. Um, and so, yeah, it's something we see a lot, and quite honestly, it probably should have been happening before, right? Like our whole industry has gone to, or is, I think the world is moving to a quick, pace, right? Like, but if you think about the Zillows and stuff, it's like, oh, let's go look at a house. Let's go look at a house, right? That's the
Yeah.
first thing everybody wants to do. And that is so backwards, right?
Yep.
Like it doesn't set you up for success in the process at all.
Yeah. Let's go buy a car. Let me go fall in love with the car and then talk about whether I can afford it or not.
Right.
you know, it's kind of the same
Right.
thing with a house, but now you're looking at homes for months, right? You kind of got your head wrapped around this area, this price point, this age, and you've really fallen in love with this, and you've not gotten a reality check with your lender to say, are you even remotely, your price point might be on, but if your taxes and your HOA dues and, you know, insurance and all that's out of whack, and now you can't afford it, that it's discouraging.
Right. Right.
So,
And I think now what we could get into is if people aren't educated, and it's, depending on the market, right? Like if it's a highly competitive market or not. It's a little bit slower right now, so I don't think we feel the pain quite as much as we will when the market shifts. But you could get into the wrong relationship right away, right? If you're in that mindset, I need to go see a house, and an agent has to have that document signed, and they just like quick have you sign it. Well, now are you in a bad relationship? You haven't taken the time to research the agent.
yeah,
Yeah, are they good at new construction? Are they a full-time agent, or only doing a part-time? There's a
yeah.
lot that goes into that now, and so I think buyers need to slow down and have those conversations early on in the process.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, my specific reference in this overlay here are the existing listings. So what I mean by that is if you are wanting to look at a home, you don't have to have an agreement with the listing agent. The listing agent has an
Right.
agreement with the sellers, and they can open the door for you. So some buyers are thinking, hey, I'll just go out there and talk to the listing agent, which is one of the worst people you can talk to, because that agent is beholden to the seller to sell the property at the highest, best price with the best terms for the seller. And, even if you don't say anything, there's evidence of interest in how you act, how you respond, the questions you ask. And that
Yeah.
just kind of never sets the stage well for you as a buyer to negotiate. So I'm just saying there's now kind of this new trend of path of least resistance. I'm just going to go directly to the listing agent, which in the past there was this misnomer that they were going to get a better deal. If I go directly and they can cut commissions and all that, which very seldom, if ever, happens. So now you've compounded that even worse. So I would say that's maybe to the top, certainly as it relates to a recent trend and the least amount of awareness of where not to find an agent to work with.
Right. Yeah, and yeah, for sure. And we just, touching on that, we just got back from that event in Arizona,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, that presenter, Marjorie, will never double end, right? She's a highly successful agent for over 25 years, top producer, and so that is a conflict of interest, and very well can be a bad place for buyers to be, right?
Yeah, well, that's a really good point, Chase. So, for those that don't know, there are a lot of states that will allow you, anecdotally, colloquially referred to as double end, take both sides of the commission. I've highly discouraged that with my agent for years. One thing that she said that I've heard before but reinforced is if you want to get sued, that would be
Yeah,
the thing that you could do to most likely get sued, right?
right.
Because there's all kinds of procedures, policies, behaviors that you have to adhere to operate in that capacity, which very struggle to understand, let alone do. Right? You
Yeah,
are not really negotiating for anybody at that point. You're kind of pushing papers around. You're trying to hold the deal together, but you can't watch out for the best interest of both parties at the same time. It's impossible. So you have to communicate that in an articulate way, that make sense to both parties, not, kind of skirt around issues and leverage the fact that they're really in love with the property and they're just going to kind of ignore this or that. Um, and her kind of assessment, I'm inclined to agree with that. Eventually, it's going to become illegal in every state. I just,
Yeah.
I just think it's a bad idea.
Yeah, yeah, and as we're moving toward this, we saw it in the lending world too, right? Like as we move toward a more conservative approach, um, they tend to overregulate, right? They underregulate and then they overregulate,
Yeah,
and then it moves to somewhere in the middle. So who knows where that's going to end up? But I definitely agree with her. I think that's something that we could very well see happen
yep,
nationwide.
yep. Yeah, so, please avoid just going directly to the seller, to the listing agent. There's all kinds of ways around that. The other one I have are these sales offices, right? So you see a pretty billboard showing you directions to an attractive community, and there's this sales office, right, that has the model home and it's fully staged and presented really well. And we've talked about this in prior episodes, so I won't belabor this too much, but really the end result is that agent is there to sell the builder's homes in that community, which does not represent your best interest, because you need, as a buyer, need to be aware of the quality, the options for different builders, the quality of their homes, the communities they
Yeah.
have, the amenities in those communities. And that it just gets really kind of sticky very quickly. But to go in saying I have an agent that's representing me, kind of just, you know, puts that to ease a little bit.
Right. No, absolutely. Yeah, it protects you right off the bat. Um, and if you have that document signed, then they can't talk you into something that you're not comfortable with. So
Right. Right. Yeah. They're trying to back out of something because you made a rash decision and you were really excited and didn't
right.
realize that those models are always kind of, really decked out and not representative of the base home that you're going to get. And, these are things that an agent representing you should and would communicate, because nothing's perfect, right? So your
Yeah.
representative needs to share, hey, this looks nice, but here's really what you're getting into. And by the way, your earnest money is going to go hard, which means it goes immediate. That's a non-refundable earnest money for most builders. Anyway, so you can get bound up pretty quick.
Yeah, for sure.
So, whoops, there's a couple $1,000s, but anyway. The other one that I put on here, this has been growing and is still growing, but I think there's a lot of things that happen in the back end that a lot of buyers might not understand or appreciate, and that is when you go to these big, what we call aggregator sites that present to you the homes that are available online. That's not just a free service for you as the buyer. They're selling your information, right? If you're getting something free, you're the product.
Right.
Right?
Yeah, right.
So some could be selling your contact information to multiple agents. So what that means is you're going to get blasted, bombarded by agents that you don't necessarily know. Some claim they have certified agents, which I've never seen anybody put you through any kind of hoops other than can you pay their bill. Um, so, I mean, I hate to be that harsh, but I've talked to these people and none of them have ever said, "Hey, we got to do a background check."
Well,
Uh,
and yeah, and you've been on a team that does a lot of that's tied directly to those those websites, right? And that yeah, so you know how it works. You're very familiar with how it works and how you get to be, and it basically just comes to how
can you
much
pay
you're
the bill?
paying. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. So just be aware, you don't know who you're going to get, how many people you're going to be contacted by. I've heard horror stories of a lot of them just getting blasted by multiple agents, and they're like, "Whoa, anyway." It creates a very frustrating experience. So I put online, which is vague because I don't mean totally online, because we like it when people find us online. What I mean by that is our reviews, our Google reviews, right? We have a lot of 5-star reviews that
yeah,
give information about who we are, which I highly recommend you do if you see us on YouTube video or Twitter or Facebook. Then yeah, go look at our reviews, look at the tone of the reviews. look at the specifics of what they say. And I'm only saying all that because there are a lot of fake reviews out there, and you can kind of tell, right? You're like, they didn't reference a name, they didn't mention any specifics. It's a really short review. So I'm not saying don't totally go online, but just be aware of where you do go. Sites like ours offer a lot of the same tools of the big sites. I'm trying not to mention names, but I think it's pretty obvious kind of who they are. Um,
Right.
but but it goes directly to our team and a specific agent on our team, um, that isn't shared with everybody. We don't bombard people with
Mhm.
just email after email, text after text type of thing. So anyway, I don't know. What's your thoughts on kind of that whole online find an
Oh,
agent thing?
it's a struggle for me. Like I'm a very relational person, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
in my business, I'm a little old school, like I'm not going to shop 100 times. If I trust somebody if I know someone and trust that they're looking out for my best interest, I'm willing to pay a little bit more for that. Right. And the great thing about agents is, you get to work with who you know and trust, and you don't have to pay anymore.
Right. You
Right.
get the best of both worlds.
It's a pretty standard set. So I think
Yeah.
it's worth the time finding that person that you can trust, that you know is looking out for your best interest.
Yeah.
Um, and going that way, because it's really not costing you any more money.
Right. Right. Yeah. We as agents are going to negotiate the commission with the seller for your buyer's agent. So we've got to go to bat for you.
and
Um,
and and what it could end up costing you by not going with someone that you trust and you know is looking out for your best interest, that could be highly more expensive, right?
yeah.
um, the situations, real estate is a complicated transaction, and the situations you can get into can end up costing you a lot, right?
Yeah.
The case in point, don't do an inspection, or people that don't recommend that kind of stuff, that could end up costing you thousands, tens of
Yeah,
thousands.
yeah, yeah, lots for sure. You kind of alluded to this one, friends and family. I'm not totally anti friends and family, but there's caution there.
Yeah.
You're going to talk about a lot of sensitive stuff. Your income, your plans. You know, you should be talking about why you're looking to buy, why you're looking to buy in a certain place, and
Yeah.
yeah, maybe you're an open book and maybe you're not. Um, but even if you are an open book and you're willing to share those things, here's one thing that an honest agent should tell you is it, it's not that we're going to have a perfect transaction. I know we talk about the perfect buying process, and this is an aspiration for us. We're not naive
Hmm.
enough to think that the world doesn't have issues and that we're not going to experience them. But what I'm saying is, when you do, how is your agent going to help you get over it? And what we don't want to create is a difficult Thanksgiving dinner,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
How long are you going to be mad at this person because they dropped the ball on something of major significance and now it cost you money or headaches or
Well, and to be quite honest, like, and I'm that cat. Like, it can cause a rift in the relationship, and it's not necessarily their fault either,
right,
right? Because, like I said, it's a difficult transaction, and they're going to do the best for you, and you may not see it that way, even though that's the case,
right,
right? And so, your agent could do absolutely nothing wrong, your brother-in-law or whatever, and have done the job great, and you could still be ticked off. I mean,
right,
quite frankly.
right. Because you felt like it should have been done a slightly different way, which isn't an option for some reason, or yeah,
Yep.
yeah, insert difficulty here. So I would just say friends and family, I would tread lightly. I would kind of ease into it, have very bold conversations in regards to, hey, we got to keep this friendship intact after this, or whatever, these things I don't feel comfortable with. I don't know, but don't just go into it and try to repair it later because that's
Right.
pretty flawed. So
Yep.
let's see what I have, excuse me, on the next one here. I think an obvious one is, you know, when you go to look for a house, you start asking people around you, or you start talking about buying a house, and somebody's going to offer up a name, a suggestion. If it's somebody you don't respect, a coworker or something like that, just keep in mind birds of a feather flock together. And if they're recommending somebody that they know, you know,
Yeah.
maybe not the smartest idea. Just because you want a name and get things going and test it out, I would just say, maybe we're going to give you recommendations on what to look for so that you don't have to do that.
Right.
So
Right.
anyway, well, I think that's a good segue. Um, we're not really talking here about where to look, but more what to look for, because you can find helpful agents in all those areas we talked about. It's just really
Yeah.
difficult to do. And we talked about some of the nuances. So if you begin to talk to multiple people, the focus attribute that I have here, and you talked about it earlier, Chase, you're a relational lender, and you've built your business on relationships, and you always put your clients before your needs and go to bat for them, you know, full hearted. And so what you need to find is that service minded, service hearted, servant hearted agent that is representing you and not their paycheck. And I hate to be kind of that bold or blunt, but your agent should be go to bat for you at the expense of anything for them, whether it
Hmm.
costs the agent time, money, a commission check or whatever. That's all fine. If that's what we need to do for you as the buyer or even seller, then that's what we need to do. Um, what's your thoughts on kind of what to ask for, what to look for in identifying a good servant-hearted lender or agent?
Um, Goodness sakes, like that's a tough one. It's time, right? Like you have to do your research. It's great to get referrals, like you said, from people that you know and trust,
Yeah,
right? Because yeah, um, you definitely can get some bad referrals, and so starting there, I always look for in my sphere first, right?
yeah.
But there's a lot of man,
It's tough to see somebody's
I'm trying to
heart.
think through this and not like offend a whole bunch of people.
Yeah,
But I think what you said was really important. You and I are in this to make money, right? Like we're
charity
not looking to
can.
do this for free. We've got families to support as well. Um, but that shouldn't be at the forefront of what's driving them to do their business, right? Like it that can't be the top of mind for every decision that your agent makes for you in this transaction,
Right.
right?
Here's some things that I agree with everything you just said, but some kind of specific things to look for if things need to go really fast and you don't need it to go really fast, that's about them, right? I
Yeah,
always tell my clients, my pace is your pace. An agent, you know, most would like it to close in 30 days, find a house, close in 30 days, but that might not be your needs. If
right.
you're 6 months, 12 months, the agent should have no problem with that whatsoever.
Hmm.
We have two ears and one mouth for a reason. If we care about what you're doing, we should hear, or then we should hear the reasons why you're doing it. We should listen.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's like a lot. It's a lot like the conversations that I've heard you have with clients of ours, where, um, your initial consultation, you're explaining to them the different cycles of a real estate market in our area, right?
Yep.
Like, yeah, you want to buy a new house, like maybe things are tight. Well, winter things tend to slow down, right? Like
Yeah.
I've heard you explain the different seasonal cycles to our real estate industry, here locally,
Hmm.
and if somebody's like, oh, push and push and you got to do it now, right? Then obviously that could be a red flag.
Yeah.
Now,
Or give
there are
evidence of
instances,
why.
yeah,
Right.
there are
We expect
instances
rates
where
to
it is
go up or values to
right,
to yeah.
right. But yeah, so it's basically for me, I would look for someone that is trying to educate you right off the bat,
Yep.
right?
Yep. Yeah. Educate you to make you feel better about your buying decision. Right. And that's a good point. And hopefully this will help illustrate this a little bit better. But I'm not. I really kind of I hate to use the word hate, but I really don't like being called a salesperson. It just
Yeah.
grinds me. Uh,
Hmm.
I like to help people buy, and people
Hmm.
buy when they have all the information and can make a good decision.
Yeah.
So to your point, Chase, if I'm educating them, if I'm providing value of information on what's going on in the market, why the market's been doing what it's been doing, why it's currently doing what it's doing, and
Yeah.
giving good sound reasons why we think things are going to play out the way they are, then that's super helpful. I literally went to a listing presentation last night, which now we're coming up on winter. And my comment was the best time for you to sell, if you can wait, is spring.
Hmm.
And I'm only sharing that with you because what you need to listen for is an agent that's wanting a commission check. Do they want you to wait for spring? Probably not.
Unlikely. No.
So, yeah, let's hurry up and get it on the market and do all these things. If you're not in a hurry, don't make them put you in a hurry
Right. No. Yeah.
without
It
a good
has to be on
reason.
your right. It has to be on your time. Right. Like if they want you to hurry, and they have reason behind that, right? Capturing, why they think that will capture,
Yeah.
top dollar for you or whatever. Um, then that's great. But right, it all surrounds around it should all be surrounded around education and market data, right?
Yep.
Like that's what really should drive when and how quickly you should buy or
Yep.
sell, especially listing side, obviously, and then um, someone that's truly wanting to, like, if you're listing, right, like you're talking about that appointment, it's someone that's truly wanting to understand what you're right, because maybe listing now, but if you're going to rebuy,
Yeah.
right, like does
Yeah.
that balance out, right, or do you need to wait for both of them? But somebody that wants to understand your whole situation, your family situation, your income situation, what's driving the move, all of those things. That's what's going to help them, represent you in the best way. And if they're not asking those questions, right, then that's probably another red flag.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, in this case, it was kind of a double reason why we would do that, because one of their options is potentially building. If they get in contract with a builder now that's going to take 6 months to build, they can get in, at a reduced price because of the seasonal kind of drop that we have, and then take the benefit of putting their home on the market closer to spring, which begets a better selling season for them. Anyway, so
Yeah.
my point is just be in tune with, are your agents and lenders responses based upon your objectives, your end goals, or does it seem like things kind of revolve around their best interests, the agents or the lender's best interest? That's all I'm saying.
Yep.
So
Absolutely.
so I think you have to have that servant heart. I think the personalities, right? If you these are I tried to put these in somewhat of an order, but not necessarily. Here's an example, right? In our industry, there's a lot of there's a lot of personality profiles out there. The DISC profile is one often used in our industry, right? DISC, and how we
Yeah.
categorize different personalities, and like-minded or like personalities will mesh a little bit better because they understand why somebody's doing what they're doing. I'll just give you one example. If you're a D, right, you're direct, you're driven. These are the people that want one or few word answers. They just want to keep moving things along. They're not long-winded. They just seem a little impatient. If you're the guy that goes on and on about this and that and the other thing, you're just going to frustrate them to no end, right?
Yeah. Absolutely.
So,
Um, you definitely want the personalities to mesh, and I think most people feel that right off the bat, right? Like you
yeah,
could tell, like and so in some instances it's just a matter of going with your gut,
yeah, yeah.
right? Like, oh
Is there a
yeah, like
vibe? Is there a good feel? Yeah,
hmm
yeah.
yeah,
And that's
that's
usually
so
what it is. It's like we kind of click. And I'll get to resonance here later, which I think kind of more speaks to that. But anyway, my point here is personality. On our team, we understand different personalities, and we pair our clients with that type of agent, right?
hmm
Somebody that they're going to click with. And over the years, I've seen these assessments enough that I can pretty quickly identify, a client, a potential client, and say, hey, they're like this, right?
yeah,
And then this is going to be a good agent fit for you. So that's we pair them up accordingly. The other would be experience, right? If you came to our market, even if my focus was right, my personality was in alignment, but you were trying to buy some farmland, I'm not your guy.
Yeah.
you know, uh, so you have to be experienced in what you're looking for, acreage properties and the nuances of something where you're going to have livestock and you want to, live that lifestyle. I don't live that lifestyle. I don't know the ins and outs of a lot of the specific things that you would look for. But there's an agent on our team that does,
Yeah.
that has very similar personality. Anyway, it's a good fit. So
Yeah. Yeah.
um, experience alignment is a must, right? Way
Yeah.
different
I
than
think
buying a
so.
condo.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think so. I mean, if you really want to have that, and you can be experienced a little bit in a bunch of different areas for sure.
Hmm.
Uh,
Yeah.
but when you get into you know, specific type properties, and you want someone that kind of has has they know what questions to ask, right? They could have your
Yes.
best interest in mind, no matter who it is. But if they don't know what questions to ask or what to look for or things that you'll run into, then it's it might not be the best fit.
Yeah. Yeah. Agreed. So yeah, the more niche properties, types of properties, we call them product, then yeah, you'd want to be open to that. But kind of your single family, your townhomes, your condos, most agents, like you said, kind of know the questions to ask, right? Your HOA dues in a condo are going to be way more important or cause potential
Yeah, right.
issues than if in a single family, that kind of thing. So they would know that. But I just want to let you know, don't get connected with an agent that doesn't have some experience, or maybe not them specifically, but within their immediate sphere, right? If an agent on my team doesn't know the specifics, but I work very closely with my agents, they don't necessarily have to have all the experience, but I'm right there with them during the whole process. So just by virtue of their relationship with me, they get to benefit from experience. So kind of understand the level of connection that an agent might have with other experienced mentors,
Yeah.
trainers, coaches.
Hmm.
So
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
problem solvers. This one's a little tougher to identify. If you're seeing on reviews, you've talked to other people and you get evidence of, yeah, man, something came up, which no real estate deal is the same, right? No property is the same. No experience is the same. I mean, they're always different just by nature of real estate. So try to find some evidence of somebody solving problems because they're going to have to solve a problem.
Yes.
Big or small, they're going to have to solve a problem.
Yeah. There will be I think two of the traits that I would look for most, right, in an agent, would be negotiating skills and problem solving, right? Like
Yep.
if there's a way to identify that in the person that you're working for, and then personality mix and all those other factors go into it. But when it comes to the art of the deal, right, which
Yeah.
you want somebody that can negotiate, that knows how to negotiate for you, and that basically is a problem solving skill, right? Like because yeah, even the easiest one things come up, right? Like there's always something, and you want to know what to look for, and you want to know how to handle that
Yeah.
in the best way.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, the focus goes back to the negotiating. So here's some evidence of what I would like to provide for my clients so that they know is everybody wants a good deal, right? There's nobody that wants to pay what it's worth or overpay what it's worth. So everybody wants a deal. So if you look at the listing and days on market, the history of what they've gone through, did they have prior buyers? Did it fall off market? Did it come back on market? Um, what was the reason behind that? Can I get prior inspections or things like that?
Hmm.
These are the things that your agent should be digging into for opportunities to negotiate that further, as opposed to somebody that's like, hey, I don't really want to ask all the questions. I just want to see if you want to buy it and let's go
Right.
buy it. You know, I'll help you buy it, but I want to figure out if I could help you buy it well.
Right.
Like there's a big difference, right? Well,
Hmm.
meaning that I've identified potential issues, big cost items that I wouldn't otherwise maybe initially see, or can I negotiate a really great price? Like, then you can ask the buyer, hey, we're going to negotiate very aggressively, but ultimately you're going to have to tell me how bad you want the house, because I'm going to lean
Yeah.
towards negotiating.
Yeah.
But at some point, we're going to have to. Anyway, I think you get the idea. So all of these, and then the most kind of exciting one that I like to share is, and something we've been certifying our agents on, and it's a full-on, multi-month course of how to be a resident leader. And a resident leader is somebody who knows how to manage and monitor and manage their emotions, and
Hmm.
subsequently be able to help their clients monitor and manage their emotions. And actually, the agent can help monitor, knows how to identify emotions, because this is an anxiety provoking experience, right?
Yeah.
So it just is, right? Even with no problems, it's a
It's
lot.
Yeah, we say it all the time. It's the biggest purchase that most people will ever make, and there's a lot that goes into it, and there can be a lot of repercussions, like both good and bad. And so you wanna put yourself in the best position, and it's stressful. Like it
Yeah.
just is stressful. Moving period is stressful, right? Not
Right.
even taking out the purchase side of it. Just moving is stressful.
Yeah, a lot of moving parts, a lot of unknowns, when, how much, all that comes into play. So, and I kind of question, putting this last, because I wanted to spend a fair bit of time on it and not be rushed to get through the rest. But in hindsight, it's in my opinion the most important, because really your agent, if they don't have their emotions in check, it's hard to keep the transaction in check,
Hmm.
right? And they certainly don't have much of an ability to help you as the buyer keep your emotions in check. That inspection comes in, and the agent didn't give any kind of concept of what that would look like, and now you're like, whoa, what are all these things? And cortisol goes shooting through the roof, and now you're wanting to chuck the phone down the hall, or whatever. I mean, insert response here. um, but my point is, and again, we've spent the last couple of years, we work in collaboration, literally, with a business psychologist who's developed multiple books and courseware, and we train our agents on this resonant leader skill and idea. And obviously, it's a little self promoting, because nobody else can do that because they don't have this course, and I've never seen anybody focus on that level of education for their agents. Um, but some people kind of naturally have the skill.
Hmm.
The two ears, one mouth thing. I really heard what you said. I sensed the tone of what you said it. I know the importance in which you delivered it. And some don't, right? The opposite of
Yeah.
that is a dissonant leader. Somebody, that walks into the room and says all the wrong things at the wrong time with the wrong volume, and you're like, whoa, that guy's, that person's obnoxious. So you can kind of get a feel, but it is a skill that you need to develop and practice and improve. So I'm just sharing, if you can better understand what a resonant leader is and work with somebody that either inherently has those skills or has been trained to build those skills. I almost call it mind reading,
Hmm.
because you, as a good agent, certainly if you've been doing it long enough and if you're listening at all, you got a pretty darn good idea of what this person's going to think or feel when
Yeah.
something comes up. And you should have formulated by now some response that helps, you know,
Calm the
not in,
situation.
what's that?
Calm the situation, basically, right?
Yeah, and not in an obnoxious way where they're being belittling or whatever, but just kind of like, hey, here's the reality of the situation, and these are our options.
Yeah.
So anyway, I do find this one very important. I do put a lot of importance in it. I do highly recommend, buyers and sellers look for this skill, this attribute. Um, but I can also appreciate that it's a little tough to maybe even understand, or certainly specifically find people that do it. But you naturally, Chase, just by virtue of having the servant's heart, kind of already have that, and then your experience just helps you go, oh, this happens, then this happens, and then this happens, we do this. So
Yeah.
anyway, what's your
Yeah.
thoughts on that whole topic? Sorry, I didn't. I got
Yeah, no,
long-winded.
I agree, and I think what hits me the most, and I totally agree with the attributes that you're trying to help people find in the agent that they use. But I think what hits me the most, as you describe this, is just the fact that you're providing education and for your team and trying to help them and get better at what they do for their clients, right?
Hmm.
Like this is and I think that's maybe off topic a little bit or not, but we should never stop trying to get better, right?
Right.
Like as we get better, we're able to serve our clients better. We're able to give a better experience. We're able to more make sure that they end up in the best situation possible for their family and financially, right? And
Yeah.
so um, all of those things to me, like that's something we should continue to work on. And
Yeah.
just knowing that you're providing that for your team and that you're pushing that and you guys are working to get better, I think is super important, right? And it says a lot about who you are, right, as
Mm.
an agent person. So kudos,
Yeah.
my friend.
I appreciate that. That
Mhm.
means a lot. For those of you that don't know, our goal is to be that concierge real estate, team that far exceeds client expectations and has, multi-year relationships with our clients. We always want to, befriend and have these long-term relationships. And you do that by taking care of people,
Yeah,
right? You take care of them, you serve them, you wow them, because then they come back to you, then they refer people to you, and it's not because of that. It's a byproduct of that. It's the right thing to do, in my opinion.
right.
Um, but to your point earlier, like this is a job. This is what we have. This is what we do to live our lives. So you get the benefit of both. Anyway, I didn't mean to go too much on a rant, but I appreciate that your comments on that focus, because it is the right thing to do, and it
Hmm.
benefits everybody, right? Us
Yep.
educating and training our agents on how to be that way translates to them just being a healthier, more helpful person in life, right?
Yeah,
These skills that we're teaching makes them better people, so therefore they're better agents who take better care of our clients. So anyway,
that's right.
so, well, very cool. Well, we covered a lot of ground today. I hope that we've helped you potentially avoid some pitfalls. Hopefully, we've given some good guidance in how to pursue a relationship with a good lender, with a good agent. Hopefully, we would have the opportunity to talk to you about your goals and your objectives, and would love to see if there's a good fit there, and provide that no obligation consultation. It's just that, is there a good fit here? Can we help you? If we can't help you, we're going to help you find somebody that can. So, anyway, I appreciate your time and insight today, Chase. And I guess, well, other than that, we'll wish everybody a blessed one. Take care.
Take care.